This is lesson number 4-5. Let's begin with the warm-up. For number 1, we want to write the equation of a line that goes through the given point and is parallel to the given equation. This is our x1 and our y1. My slope of the given equation is -2. If I want my line to be parallel to this line, I need to use the same slope. So I'm going to use the slope m equals -2. We're now going to plug that into our y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y subtract 8 equals -2 times x minus a -3, which is x plus 3. Now we're going to distribute our -2 through. Y subtract 8 equals -2x subtract 6. Add 8 to both sides. And we get y equals -2x plus 2. This equation that we just found, its graph is parallel to the graph of this equation because they have the same slope but different y-intercepts, and the line goes through this point on the graph. Okay, number 2. This is our x1 and our y1. Once again, we want to write the equation of a line that's parallel to this one. So since the slope of this equation is 2/5, I'm going to use the same slope, m equals 2/5, to write the equation of my new line. So I'm going to do y minus a -6, which is y plus 6, equals 2/5 times x subtract 15. We want to distribute the 2/5 through. So y plus 6 equals 2/5 x minus 12. Just kidding, sorry, minus 6. Then we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. So we get y equals 2/5 x minus 12. So the line that this equation represents is parallel to the line this equation represents because they have the same slope and different y-intercepts, and it goes through the point 15, -6. Okay, number 3, y equals -1. This is a horizontal line, and so our slope is 0. If I want to be parallel, I have to have the same slope. So we have, here's my x1 and my y1. So we have y minus a -5, which is y plus 5, equals 0 times x subtract 12. Now 0 times this whole thing is just 0. So we have y plus 5 equals 0. Subtract 5 from both sides, and y equals -5. Or we could just look right up here and saw that y equals -5. Okay, so for number 4, the slope of this one is 1, so that's what we're going to use, m equals 1. So we're going to go ahead and plug this in. Y subtract 0 equals 1 times x subtract 4. Now y minus 0 is just y equals, and when I distribute this 1 through, I just get x minus 4. So there's our answer for number 4. Okay, now for number 5, we're trying to write the equation of a line that's perpendicular to the given line. And that means that our slopes need to be opposite reciprocals. This has a slope of a +3. So the slope I need to use is going to be a -1/3. This is my x1, y1. So we have y minus a -1, which is y plus 1, equals -1/3, parenthesis x subtract 12. Now we're going to distribute the negative 1/3 through. So y plus 1 equals negative 1/3 x. A negative times a negative is a positive, and 1/3 of 12 is 4. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides. So our answer is y equals negative 1/3 x minus 3. Now the line that's represented by this equation is perpendicular to this line because our slopes are opposite reciprocals, and this line passes through this point, 12, negative 1. Okay, number 6, we have x equals 2. The slope of the line x equals 2 is undefined. And we know that the slope of a line that's perpendicular to that vertical line is the slope of a horizontal line, which is m equals 0. So we have y minus a negative 5, which is y plus 5, equals 0 times x subtract 13. Now we know this whole thing equals 0, so y plus 5 equals 0. Subtract 5 from both sides, and we get y equals negative 5. Or we could have just looked up here and saw that y equals negative 5. Okay, so for number 7, the slope of this equation is 2/5, so the slope we're going to use, if this is positive, we're going to have a negative slope, 2/5. The reciprocal is 5/2. So we have y minus a negative 9, which is the same as y plus 9, equals negative 5/2 parenthesis x subtract 4. Now we want to distribute that negative 5/2 through. So y plus 9 equals negative 5/2 x plus 10. Now we're going to subtract 9 from both sides. So y equals negative 5/2 x plus 1. And our last one on the warm-up, number 8. We have x1, y1, and the slope of this equation is a negative 1/6. So I need the opposite reciprocal of that. If this is a negative, I'm going to have a positive. 1/6, the reciprocal is 6/1. So the slope I'm going to use is a positive 6. So I have y minus 1 equals 6 times x subtract 14. We're going to distribute the 6 through. Y subtract 1 equals 6x minus 84. Now we're going to add 1 to both sides. So we get y equals 6x subtract 83. The two lines are perpendicular because they have opposite reciprocal slopes, and this line goes through that point right there, 4, 1.